You show up at the airport, boarding pass in hand. Passport? Checked. But then, bam, you're stopped. Not because of anything you did, but because of where you're headed, the United States. Across the globe, something is shifting. Nations that once embraced U.S. vacations are backing off. Fast. Government warnings. Slash flights. Empty hotel rooms in places that once buzzed with foreign travelers. And the reason? It's not just the politics. It's fear, uncertainty, and the sense that America isn't as welcoming as it used to be. This isn't a temporary dip. It's a global warning shot. And if it continues, it could leave America economically isolated and globally sidelined. Let's dive in. France. France, a top source of U.S. tourists, has grown uneasy. In March 2025, it quietly adjusted its advisory. The reason? Travelers being detained at U.S. airports, even with valid documents. Reports surfaced of French citizens, especially dual nationals, being held, questioned, or flat-out denied entry. Some were detained for hours. No lawyer, no explanation. Tourists who just wanted a photo with the Statue of Liberty suddenly found themselves in holding rooms. That doesn't sit well in Paris. And the response has been swift. Tourism boards are now warning, travel at your own risk. You might not be allowed in. In 2023, French tourists spent more than $7 billion in the U.S. Now, that spending is vanishing. And with France setting the tone, other EU nations are starting to reevaluate too. Canada. Our friendly northern neighbor is no longer feeling so friendly. In April 2025, Canada updated its travel advisory for the U.S. Nothing loud, just a small notice. Travelers staying longer than 30 days must register online. Sound simple? It's a warning in disguise. Cross-border travel has already dropped 30% in some regions. That's billions not spent in American malls, outlets, and theme parks. What's behind this? Mounting border issues, more travelers being questioned, random inspections, and an unspoken fear that even Canadians aren't safe from sudden detainment. For decades, Canadians crossed into the U.S. like it was their backyard. But now many are staying home. And when your closest ally starts pulling back, that's a sign something's seriously off. Denmark. Denmark, a quiet, progressive nation, doesn't stir panic without reason. But in 2025, they raised a red flag. A travel alert warned citizens. If your gender identity doesn't match your documents, you could face detention in the U.S. Trans travelers were already reporting problems at U.S. borders. Now, their government confirmed it. This isn't just rumor. It's happening. More than 250,000 Danes visited the U.S. last year. They brought with them curiosity, culture, and more than $100 million in spending. But that trust has cracked. Danish tour companies are canceling U.S. trips. Schools are pausing exchange programs. Even corporate partners are rethinking deals. Because if your people feel unsafe entering a country, why do business there at all? Germany. Germany has always been a steady U.S. ally. But in 2025, something snapped. Their Foreign Office issued a warning that didn't mince words. Be careful in America. The reasons were long. Escalating gun violence, legal unpredictability, airport chaos, reports of racial profiling and discrimination. This wasn't just a caution, it was a shift. Tourism from Germany to the U.S. dropped 22% after the announcement. Airlines started cutting flights. Travel agencies began rerouting tours to safer alternatives, like Japan, Canada, and Austria. In 2023, German tourists injected over $5 billion into the U.S. economy. That's now in freefall. And it's not just tourists. Even young professionals and students are steering clear of American schools and cities. Germany stepping back sends a message. The most powerful democracy in the world no longer feels safe. Finland. Finland, ranked the happiest country on earth, isn't happy with what it sees in the U.S. In early 2025, Finnish officials warned citizens. Expect the unexpected. They cited gun crime, high healthcare costs, confusing immigration policies, and an atmosphere that feels unstable. These aren't just talking points, they're stopping people from coming. Tourism from Finland has dropped over 20%. Package tours are being redirected to safer European spots. Parents are canceling student exchange programs. And families are looking elsewhere for vacations. American businesses? They're feeling it. Hotels, restaurants, retailers, all missing that Nordic boost. When a nation as calm and steady as Finland says, maybe not, it's time to ask why. United Kingdom. The UK and US share history, language, and culture. But even those deep ties are fraying. In 2025, the UK's Foreign Office updated its US guidance. They warned of gun crime, civil unrest, political tension, surprise medical bills. Yes, healthcare costs made the list. British citizens are used to the NHS. A broken arm in the US could cost $5,000. And insurance confusion has led to horror stories. Now, UK citizens are staying away. Tourist numbers are down 15%. Airlines are trimming their US routes. And British tabloids are full of airport detention tales. In 2023, nearly $5 billion came to America from UK travelers. That pipeline? Now a trickle. And here's the kicker. When Britain pauses, the rest of the Commonwealth watches closely. Netherlands. Amsterdam to New York was once a popular hop. Not anymore. The Netherlands has seen a 25% drop in American travel interest since late 2024.
Why?
Gun violence, inconsistent entry policies, healthcare confusion, and fears of racial and gender profiling. Dutch travelers, known for loving US road trips, are choosing Spain and Portugal instead. Even business travel is fading. Firms are holding conferences in Germany or Sweden instead of San Francisco or Boston. In 2023, Dutch visitors spent over $2 billion in the US. Now that spending is being rerouted elsewhere. Mexico. Yes, Mexico. America's southern neighbor is pushing back. In 2025, the Mexican government updated its advisory. It warned citizens, especially those of indigenous or mixed descent, about racial profiling and unjust detainment at U.S. borders. What used to be a weekend getaway to Texas or California. Now it's a risk. Mexico also cited gun violence and anti-immigrant sentiment as growing concerns. And guess what? Mexican travel to the U.S. has dropped nearly 25% since January. China. The biggest shift of all. China has issued multiple red-level warnings for its citizens. Not just about violence, but about political tension and surveillance. In 2025, several Chinese students were deported without cause. And some tourists faced aggressive interrogations at customs. This didn't go unnoticed. Chinese influencers and travel platforms have stopped promoting U.S. trips. Chinese airlines? Slashing routes. And the economic hit? Massive. China once pumped $15 billion annually into American tourism. That pipeline? Drying up fast. Final thoughts. Let's be clear. This isn't a fluke. It's a trend. One that's costing billions in lost revenue. One that's damaging long-standing alliances. One that paints a picture the U.S. might not want to see. A country once seen as the dream is now seen as the risk. These 10 countries aren't hostile. They're cautious. And their people are voting with their passports. Because perception is power. And if America loses the world's trust, it doesn't just lose tourists. It loses influence. It loses partners. And it may lose its place as the world's go-to destination.